Hello everyone, Bruffy1322 here. So if you haven't seen my previous videos showing all the fastest cars in each class in GTA 5, I would suggest you go watch those first because this will serve as an update to those videos. They will all be linked in the description down below. So in this video I will be testing all of the cars from the I'm Not A Hipster update and taking them all around cutting corners and seeing what the lap times they get, and comparing them to the fastest cars in each class that we've already found. So let's start with the Buffalo S, which isn't actually a new car, but it is the first time that we can actually buy it legitimately and keep it. So this is Franklin's Buffalo, and it is quicker than the normal Buffalo by a significant margin, about by like 2.5 seconds, something like that. But obviously in the sports class, it's not very competitive at all. It's not going to beat the LG or be quick with any of the other sports cars. And in terms of the fastest four-door, it's still not as quick as the Exemplar, although it's probably sort of on that same level as the Sultan and the Felon for battling it out for the second quickest four-door car. But yeah, that's it's a pretty good car, but it's just not quite on the pace to be the fastest four-door or the fastest sports car. So next up we've got another car that isn't quite new, but is Trevor's Blazer, which is the Hot Rod Blazer. Now this is actually a little bit slower than the normal Blazer because it is a little bit heavier, and it just doesn't have the speed to keep up with the normal Blazer, which we found to be sort of the second fastest around cutting corners in the off-road class. But yeah, it's still pretty quick. You know, it's still going to do quite well in off-road races. But it's just, you know, nothing can beat the Sanchez really when it comes to off-road races. And the Blazer, the Hot Rod Blazer, isn't quite your best choice if you do want to have the quad bike, because you would rather go with the original. So yeah, that's the Blazer sorted. And next up we've got another off-road vehicle, which is the Dubsta 6x6. Now this isn't very quick in terms of off-road cars when it comes to races, because obviously the Sanchez blows everything out the way. But the Dubsta 6x6 is actually our 7th quickest now, our 7th quickest off-road vehicle, and it's actually quicker than the Sand King, quicker than the Bodhi, you know, quicker than a lot of other off-road vehicles. It's also the quickest 6-seater car, beating out, you know, all of the others, the Bison and the Roosevelt, for example, and people can sit in the back so they're nice and protected. And it's quicker than the Granger, which is obviously the Granger is an 8-person vehicle, but obviously people get knocked off the side. So it's a very, very good car to have, the 6x6. Next up we've got the Glendale, which is not very quick, I'll be honest. You know, the sedans, obviously there's a lot of sedans in the game, a lot of them aren't very quick, and obviously in terms of trying to get onto the top spots here, the Glendale just isn't going to do it. It's got some decent mods obviously, but it's just, you know, it's not going to be anywhere near the Fugitive, which is the quickest when it's everything's stock, or the Shafter, which is the quickest when everything's fully modded. Now just to comment on fully modded, all of these results are exactly the same when everything's fully modded. So everything that I'm going to talk about today, everything is exactly the same when things are fully modded as well. So the Warrener is next, and this is also a bit of a disappointment in terms of outright speed. You know, it's not going to be beating the Fugitive. It's about 3 seconds off there. You know, you can use it if you want, but you just, you know, be aware that you will be off the pace when it comes to races. Although I have heard that it is quite good for drifting. So, you know, if you prefer that sort of thing, then fair enough. And obviously all of these hipster update cars have quite a lot of good mods on them as well. So there's a lot to it, but in terms of racing, you know, it's not going to really cut the mustard, if you like. So we've seen 5 new cars up to now, and we haven't actually seen anything that's going to be able to trouble any of the classes in terms of the top spots. Will this change for the next car, which is the Panto for the compacts class? Unfortunately not. The Panto is actually surprisingly quick. It has really good acceleration, but it's just, you know, it is a little bit off the pace in terms of outright traction and speed compared to the Blister. You know, I mean, it's not too far off, but yeah, it doesn't have the outright pace, although it is quite a fun car to drive, and it's just absolutely tiny. So yeah, I can understand why people would want to buy it, and you could certainly have a lot of fun with it, and it would certainly be a interesting one to use in races, because you could probably get through a lot of small gaps. So next up is another compact car, which is the Rhapsody. Now the Rhapsody is a lot closer to the Blister, but it doesn't actually overhaul it. So it's about nearly 0.2 of a second off when stock, and they are all of the top sort of 3 or 4 compacts are all pretty close. So the Rhapsody sits in second place, the Blister's obviously on the 110.3, and the Issy was in third place with the 110.5. Now when it's fully upgraded, the Rhapsody, it isn't quite as quick, it doesn't gain as much as what the Blister does. So the Blister actually gets a lot more time out of the upgrades than the Rhapsody does, and the Rhapsody is about the same level as the Issy. So they're all pretty similar there, but the Blister's still the one to have. The Bengali is next, and can this overhaul the Z-Type? No, it can't. It's not too far off. It actually is a little bit quicker than the Monroe, although when it is fully modded it does suffer from a bit of understeer. But the Z-Type has actually, the nerf has been removed from it again, so it's back to how it originally was. So the Z-Type is now still the quickest sports classic car, and that's not going to change anytime soon, because when it's fully modded it just blows everything out of the water. The Bengali is pretty quick, and it's on the pace of the Monroe, but it's not going to be beating the Z-Type. So we've seen 8 of the 9 cars that we've got, and there's only one left and only one more chance to see a new king of its class, if you like. Now this is the Blade, and can it overhaul all of the other muscle cars? Yes, it can. The Blade is our new fastest muscle car in the game, and by a significant margin. Now as you can see there, that's by 3/10 when it's stock, but when it's fully modded it gains even more time, and it's up about a second a lap quicker than all of the other muscle cars when fully modded. It doesn't have the greatest turning circle, but if you get the turning right with it, it's just an absolute beast. It's got great acceleration, it really sticks to the ground really well, it doesn't spin out or anything like that like all of the other muscle cars do. And it's just easily the quickest muscle car now. You have to have one of these if you plan on racing muscle, because it's just so much quicker than the others. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I've tried to get it out to you guys as quickly as I possibly can. I will be doing another discussion video for this that will be up in hopefully 1 or 2 days. So if you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like. We've only seen one car that has actually overhauled the top spot in its class, but at least we've had one in this update rather than nothing. So yeah, a lot of interesting cars in this one. I will be talking more about them in the discussion video up in a few days. Feel free to leave a like, leave all your comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I really appreciate your support as always, and I'll see you next time.